Well, CTWC is right around the corner, and you know what that means. There's a lot of events going on to try and hype up CTWC, and with that, this is a chance for players all around the world to show who is the best of the best here in the World Championships. And in today's Insider, we're going to be discussing that and more. Hello everyone, I'm your favorite underwater host Sharky, and welcome to the Classic Tetris Insider. For those of you that are unfamiliar with what the Classic Tetris Insider is, think of it as like SportsCenter, but for Tetris. Here on this show, we go over news, events, spotlights, and highlights that have happened within the Tetris community. The show has been on hiatus due to some things with me moving. As you can tell from my last Insider, the background is definitely new and everything. However, with CTWC right around the corner, and there's a lot of things that are going on, especially next week's Insider, which is going to be a lot longer show, but it's going to give you a full preview of what's going to be happening at the end of this month and at the beginning of next month in October, which, if you don't know, that's when CTWC is. CTWC 2021 is going to be the biggest event yet. Now, before we get started into our first section of our broadcast here, or not broadcast, our show, I am not streaming right now. Anyways, before we get into the first section of our show, here's the time codes. They're all on screen, so if there's some specific information that you want, you'll be able to jump right to there. Obviously, there'll also be, time codes in the description and chapters, all that good stuff. But without further ado, let's go ahead and talk about our first thing, which is going to be CTWC. Now, originally, I was going to split this into two kind of different sections regarding CTWC events that are left and have happened, and regarding things involving CTWC. Well, I decided to save all the events that have happened for next week's Insider in a massive hour-long qual preview. Now, this isn't like the video that me and GameScout did last year, which was the bracket preview, which hopefully we'll be able to do again this year. But this is going to go over all the different things that happened over the 25 plus qual events. This also includes stuff that hasn't been uploaded on their YouTube channel yet, so you'll be able to see some kind of highlights from there as well. So instead, we are going to be talking about the few remaining events that are going to be happening in terms of CTWC precursor events, if you want to call them that, as well as we're going to be talking about some things that you need to know if you plan on registering for CTWC. As of right now, there is 4 remaining CTWC events. Your 4 events are going to include the Grand Designs of the Classic Tetris Wars qualifier. Classic Tetris Wars is an event hosted by Grand Designs, and it has all these new different approaches to competitive Tetris, where you have your consistency battle, your kind of like little boss battles where you have a boss and you got to try and get a better score. Than the lower skill you are, the better your handicap is, and however many points you get from that, then that's the winner for that boss battle per se. They also have consistency duels, so depending on how consistent you are in a game's over a series of, I believe, 10 games, then that judges who wins. So it has all those kinds of events. It's going to be having their qualifying event on September 11th, starting at 1700 UTC. I'm pretty sure it's going to be on Grand Design's Twitch. However, if not, do check out the Classic Tetris channel. Both of these will be linked down in the description below. Following that event, you have the Classic Tetris Brawl qualifiers. For those of you that don't know, Classic Tetris Brawl is an event run by the current world champion Dog Playing Tetris, or Dog for short. It's an amazing event that takes also a unique spin, having to do like kind of a little battle royale in some of his events in order to advance to the next round. His event is also going to be at 1700 UTC, however, it's going to be September 12th. So you want to check that out, be sure to check out his channel, Dog Playing Tetris, on Twitch, or just in case if it's not on there, then there's also a possibility it could be on the Classic Tetris channel, which, like I said, once again, these are going to be linked down in the description below. And then for our last 2 events that we have planned before CTWC qualifiers, at least the last 2 events to my knowledge, you have Classic Tetris Canada qualifiers, and you have the Blank Dorm Room qualifier. Unfortunately for Blank's Dorm Room qualifiers, I don't have that much more information except for the fact that it's going to be on the 15th. However, the Canada quals are also going to be on the 18th. I believe they're right now finishing up their qualifiers, and it's going to feature a lot of Canadian players, including a well-known player known as Jake, who is qualified and has recently swapped to rolling. He is looking to stay with rolling going into CTWC. However, who knows, with rolling being a new playstyle, there's a lot of interesting narratives to be built. So with that being said, you can probably find that on the Classic Tetris channel. If I am wrong, I will correct this information as soon as possible. But those are our 4 qualifier events. Well, Classic Tetris channel and Classic Tetris 2 channel, since both of these events are happening on the same day. So if I am wrong, of course, I'll give you the proper Twitch channels in those, and be looking forward to, you know, community posts or tweets, or if you're in my Discord, whenever I provide updates via that kind of thing, then you'll be able to have the proper information if you watch those qualifiers. But now for what everyone's looking for, or hopefully what everyone's excited for, CTWC information. And man, there is a lot to go into. So first things first, CTWC registration has opened up on the 6th, or this Monday. At the time of me uploading this, this is probably going to be 2 days ago. I have confidence in my ability to edit it. We'll see if that ages well during this recording. Here are a couple things that you need to know if you want to play in CTWC. So do take a look at your screen now. CTWC, first things first, you need to be 13 years or older to participate. And if you are younger than the age of 18, you're going to also need your parental permission to participate in this event. Now, there is an entry fee to play. That entry fee is $50. This entry fee is non-refundable, and it will give you an opportunity to qualify for either the gold bracket, silver bracket, or maybe the bronze bracket. The bronze bracket has not been entirely confirmed, but it is very much possible. So be on the lookout for that information. As soon as I know, then I can tell you guys whether it be in the next insider or whether it be through, you know, the aforementioned communication method. In addition to that, you need to have face cam and be willing to show your face and hands on stream. If you aren't willing to do that, then you will not be able to play. This is also to prevent things like cheating, and to prove that it is actually you playing like that, playing in that position. So that way you're not, you know, getting multiple qualifier attempts or things of that nature. In addition to, you know, you having the willingness to be on face cam and show your hands on stream, you also have to be willing to be interviewed. There are interviews that happen, especially at the top 8, maybe for the end of the brackets at the 64, the 8 individual brackets. There is potential for you to be interviewed there, and maybe you might be interviewed in between. Who knows? Things are most likely projected to run the same as 2020, so there's a good chance that you won't get interviewed, but there's also a good chance that you can get interviewed. All depends on, you know, how things play out all over those brackets. Following that, CTWC must be legal where you live. This is something that you're probably going to have to do your own individual research, because I can't necessarily tell you where you can't play CTWC at. There are things like where, you know, being in gaming competitions are illegal. So you are going to have to do that research on yourself. Also, piggybacking on that, you also need to understand that there are certain states and countries to where winning prizes from these kind of gaming competitions is not allowed. So you also are going to have to research that on your own. Just want to make sure you know before, you know, you pay your $50 in and you expect to, you know, potentially make top 16, win X amount of dollars, and then find out, oh, I live in a country where that's not necessarily legal, so I don't get money. But those are just some things that you should look out for. Next, you must be on original hardware. There are 2 videos that I can bring to you. A video made by Anthony, aka Asian Anthony, and a video made by Eric ICX. Both of these videos go into detail what you would need to participate in a CTWC online event, and I recommend checking them out if you haven't already for an opportunity to play in this year's tournament. Following that, you also need a high-res photo of yourself to be submitted. So ideally, they want you to have waist up, or at least that's what I considered, you know, high-res photo. Your face does need to be shown, and, you know, having just a general good amount of upper body, but you want to have a good picture would be waist up, which would help make, you know, thumbnails and any other extraneous graphics needed, you know, a lot neater in that retrospect. Next, and this is probably one of the more important things, just for the sake of the quality for the event, your internet speed must be at a minimum of 5 megabits per second. If it's not, I'm not sure if they'll disallow it, but if there's some serious lag via Max Out Club or via Cam, there is potential for you to be disqualified. And this might take take place in the qualifiers. However, I'm not entirely sure, so do not quote me on that, but that is what it says on their website. If you want to register, then you can go to the CTWC website, and there's also being a link to that description as well, and you'll be able to fill out all that information, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, but now that that has been discussed, let's talk about Classic Tetris Monthly, which this is essentially a precursor to what we might see at CTWC. Now, Classic Tetris Monthly is an amazing event hosted by Van Dwellers and hosted by Van Weller, not Van Wellers. Unless there is multiple Van, which would make sense, but that's beside the point. Classic Tetris Monthly is an event hosted by Van Weller and helped moderated by other great people in the community such as Kibibai, Tegamek, just to name a few. Now, Van Weller hosted this event. It's a monthly Tetris event, and in this month, he decided that this month is going to be an average of 1 qualifier, which means that your best score gives you, your seeding in the qualifiers. And man, do we have a stacked month this month, just as like a perfect precursor to CTWC. First things first, just to kind of gauge how insane the skill level of this Classic Tetris Monthly is, CTWC 2020 had 40 max out players. CTM September had 41 max outs in their qual. Meaning that there was effectively more players that qualified with a max plus score in this month of CTM than there was in CTWC 2020. And the qual system is only done in an hour, so it's a lot less rigorous, or no, it is more rigorous than CTWC 2020. Now, the two brackets that we're mainly going to be focusing on here in today's episode are going to be the Masters event and the Challengers event. First things first, we're going to start with the Challengers because you do save the best for last. Challengers are for the next 16 players, or rather seeds 17 through 32 that didn't quite get a high enough score to make it in the top 16, but of course they get their bracket on their own. So with that being said, when are they going to play? Well, glad you asked, or glad I prompted you to ask. These 16 players are going to be playing on different days. First, we're going to start off with the Challengers bracket, and there is one bracket left to be scheduled for Challengers bracket and one bracket that is already played. So, however, we're going to talk about the brackets that have been scheduled and haven't been played. For the Challengers bracket, to see the green bracket, players will be listed on the screen. The green bracket will be played on September 12th at 8 p.m. Central or 0100 UTC. The orange bracket, I just realized I went out of chronological order. The orange bracket will be played on the 10th of September, starting at 8 p.m. Central, 0100 UTC. And this is actually going to be 2 hours after another event that is coming from the Masters bracket. Now, the Masters bracket, all 4 brackets have yet to be played. But we're going to be having our first bracket this week on September 9th, starting at 6 p.m. Central, 2300 UTC. That's going to be our green bracket. Our red bracket is going to be next on the 10th of September at 6 p.m. Central, 2300 UTC again. The blue bracket is going to be played on September 14th, 4 p.m. Central, 2100 UTC. And the orange bracket is going to be played on the 17th, 6 p.m. Central, 2300 UTC. The final 4 for those brackets will be decided at a later date. Hopefully, actually, I'm not entirely sure if I'm going to be able to be in town to report whether and when that top 4 broadcast is going to happen. But for you to be sure that you find out, be sure to join the Classic Tetris Monthly Discord server. Link is going to be down in the description below. To kind of like segue into our conclusion, because that's really all this insider video was to kind of give you guys information for CTWC and talk about some events that are happening recently. So let's go ahead and head to our recap. So to recap today's insider events, or the too long didn't watch, well, basically there are a couple CTWC events that are going to be happening over the next 2 weeks. You have your Grand Designs qualifier, your CTB hosted by Dog qualifier, you have your Canadian qualifier, and you have your Blank Dorm qualifier. Last of those had not been confirmed. If you want to find more information, be sure to check back in that section where we talked about it in the video. You have those qualifiers next. CTWC registration is in fact live. And so then you can register for CTWC. However, there are a couple restrictions revolving your age, internet speed, your willingness to, show your face and your hands on camera, etc. Once again, if you want to find out more information, you can feel free to jump back to that section. Then last but not least, we talked about CTM, all the different brackets, essentially being a precursor to CTWC 2021. And as that, if you want to find out more information on, those dates, those brackets that are being played, be sure to check out that section. Of course, you can also check out the description. That's going to have majority of the information that you need to know, and revolving, Discourse to join, when what things are happening, blah, 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 all that exciting stuff. But yeah, that is it. Anyways, if you like this video and you like having all this information be relayed to you, and if you're excited, if you're simply just excited for CTWC 2021, then be sure to leave a like. Comment down what event that I talked about, or what thing that I talked about in today's broadcast stood out to you the most, or is there other things that you would like me to discuss on these kind of insiders? Once again, this is coming back next week to be a full CTWC qual preview, giving a lot of highlights from events. It's going to be a very long video, and so you do not want to miss it, but you do want to grab, maybe a bowl or two of popcorn. It's going to be a great video. You'll be looking forward to that. Anyways, next, share it with anyone who you think might be interested in CTWC or your Tetris buddies, so they get the word out. This is very important information that needs to be shared, and if it's not shared soon enough, there's a possibility that you could be too late for seeing some of these events, or you could be too late for even registering for definitely the biggest Classic Tetris tournament that we have seen yet, or potentially will see. And last but not least, if you like all the stuff that I talked about today, be sure to drop a subscription, and follow me on my Twitch, ITZsharky1. Both my Twitch channel will be linked down in the description below. This helps out the channel and lets me know that you guys like to see more content like this. But that's all that I have for today in our episode of the Classic Tetris Insider. I'm your favorite underwater host, Sharky, and I'll see you all in the next episode of Classic Tetris Insider.